Now let's talk about how to create a plan for your first year of homeschooling. Maybe you're asking, how do I actually homeschool? If you're just pulling your child out of school mid-year, or you're just beginning to research the idea, you're a working mom or a parent of a child with special needs, or a parent wanting to hit the reset button on family life, this mini-series on the Into Season podcast was created to help you get started. It might still feel like your toes are at the edge of a great unknown. Whatever the circumstances that led you to homeschooling, I have good news. There are plenty of tools and resources that will answer your questions, ease your fears, and lead you to a homeschool style that will fit your unique family and learning needs. I've linked a ton of resources over at my blog, 200fingersandtoes.com. Let it be your guide to help you find your way to the best homeschool ever. Now first, where do you start? Homeschool Legal Defense, or HSLDA, and the National Home Education Research Institute are both good resources to locate your state's information and begin creating a plan for how to communicate with the appropriate agencies. Now, I homeschool in Iowa, which has some major successes in alleviating the burden of excessive or invasive oversight. A clear resource for a breakdown of your startup options is provided by Homeschool Iowa. Their site is one that should be bookmarked for every Iowa-based homeschooler and is a good resource for anyone trying to navigate their first year of homeschooling. Now, they have printable forms and documents to help you know exactly what you need to provide to your school district. Now, we choose here in Iowa from several options according to our students' needs. When you're just beginning, it might seem a little bit confusing for me to tell you how to do it, but there are lots of terms and forms and references that might sound confusing. But there are a few simple questions to your state support group would have you feeling confident. A simple version is this: we are open enrolled. We had to apply to our own district and to the district we wished to attend in April of the previous school year. So that's a heads up to those of you who are thinking about moving out of your own district. This step takes some advanced planning. 2 of my sons are open enrolled in the neighboring district for athletics. We had 2 baseball players, and now we have 2 wrestlers. Each state has different rules regarding sports access, so contact your local district if you have a student athlete to be clear about your state's laws. Now, there are several states that do not allow homeschooling students to compete in athletics at the public school. Because my sons are in athletics at the local public school, we complete what is called a Competent Plan of Instruction, or a CPI, with opt-in reporting. Now, you may choose to satisfy this reporting required by the district by submitting a standardized test result or a portfolio evaluated by a licensed Iowa teacher, or you may submit an end-of-the-year report from an accredited correspondence school in which your child is enrolled and send it to the district at the end of the year. Now, Homeschool Iowa has a chart where you can see all of the options clearly, and I will most certainly link that in the show notes. The rest of my homeschool students are open enrolled, but they're not using any services from the public school at this time. For these students, I send an IPI, which is an independent private instruction sheet, only if the district in which we attend requests one. Now, I do not have to report to the district about these students' daily work or any tests that they're taking. Depending on your state's laws for attendance, the next thing you can do is schedule your school year. Now, in Iowa, we must meet a minimum requirement for meeting 148 days per calendar year, at least 37 days each quarter. Now, I divided 148 school days by 5 days a week for a result of roughly 30 weeks of class time. That leaves 20 weeks for summer, holidays, travel, and well-deserved breaks. Homeschooling allows you to schedule your school days as you need them to be. Now, there's no need to replicate Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. You are not getting paid for a 40-hour work week. Teachers are. You can school for the amount of time it takes you to complete the studies for each day, and you can schedule schools for the days that you're available to teach. After 19 years at being a stay-at-home partner in our business, I started a part-time job. Last October, I became a working homeschool mom, working 20 to 25 hours a week away from home. Now, the younger kids were already using a 4-day schedule. using that fifth day for electives and personal studies. To help us cut down on our workload through the week, we switched everyone to a 4-day week, and 3 days were hands-on instruction and 1 day for online work, electives, and personal work. This means we could do school a little bit longer, 38 weeks out of the year, but we still have 14 weeks worth of time to distribute throughout the year for vacations and breaks. I say all this to let you know that you can still homeschool as a working parent. Homeschooling is a great fit for entrepreneurial families like mine. Our hours as restaurant owners have been unconventional. There were years when the only way the kids saw Dad is if I packed us up in the car and headed to the restaurant to hang out at closing time. Looking back, I am so thankful that I made the effort to keep us connected as a family. Homeschooling gave us the flexibility we need. And I don't know if we would have beaten the odds and made it 25 years as business owners and lovers if we hadn't made us a priority. I don't know if I would have chosen late nights with Dad if the kids had to be up for the bus at 6:30 in the morning. Homeschooling helped us create a closer family. Now that you've assessed your personal goals and educational goals for your family, and you've looked at your learning styles, you're ready to start narrowing down the selection of what kind of curriculum you're going to use as a family. When I started thinking about homeschooling, I knew I wanted to keep doing exactly what was working for us and get school credit for it. Now, I searched for a literature-based curriculum, one with full-length books that I could read aloud, covering a majority of our core subject for the day. We settled on Sunlight curriculum and have used it from the start. It fit our learning goals and is a perfect fit for a multi-student family like mine. We wanted to build a library that we could keep coming back to year after year. Being rural, I like having everything we need delivered to our door at the outset of the school year. Now, some providers of literature-based curriculums, Sunlight, my top literature-based bundle pick for great content and price. Memorial Press has classical subjects like Latin, Greek, logic, and rhetoric, and they also offer streaming classes. Veritas Press has classical subjects with language arts and live online classes as well. Beautiful Feet, Knotgrass, Ambleside Online. All of these are great literature-based curriculum providers. There are a ton of homeschool teaching styles, and it's important to find your family's best fit. I have a friend who only uses textbooks and workbooks. She is confident in knowing that all the information she needs to cover is in one book for the year. If a textbook is overwhelming to you or your child, there are providers who break up the year into 10 workbook-like packets. That said, textbooks make me want to cry. Don't be sorry for knowing what you like and what you need as a family. When I started blogging at 200 Fingers and Toes, I wanted to encourage parents who were looking for an alternative in education. Over the years, I've realized we've only used one curriculum and a few supplements because we love them. Now, you might not like what I like, and that's why I've used a lot of materials over the last few years, and I wouldn't have chosen for myself. I have a ton of reviews of those materials linked over at the blog. When you're beginning your homeschool, start smaller than you think. What you're going to need for the first year is a whopping dose of grace, humor, openness, humility, and I suggest coffee and Jesus. Doing anything from the startup is hard. This is your first time homeschooling. Acknowledge that there will be a season of fine-tuning and finding your way, and give yourself permission to start smaller and make changes sooner. When we begin the school year, we typically start in August. That gives us a month to come up to full steam. We begin with just our core subjects, so that's math, reading, and language arts. Now, our reading books cover a multitude of subjects like history, social studies, geography, and sometimes even science. By September, we incorporate Bible, writing assignments, current events, and our full science curriculum. By reading great books, we sneak in a lot of learning time. People often wonder how we get done with our work so quickly. Are we cheating? Are we slacking off? The real question should be, why is the school week 5 8-hour days? Well, school is 40 hours a week because teaching is a job. Teachers are employees, and our work week payment structure is built on a 40-hour work week. If every class in a 7-period rotation of the school day has 30 minutes of solid instruction time, that's 210 minutes. Well, that is just 3.5 hours. That's about what our school day takes to teach. We don't have an hour bus ride. We don't change classes or have announcements, but you could certainly throw on some tunes and have a pep rally if you need it. Homeschooling means setting my own hours. At our house, we work from 10 to 2 most school days. There's plenty of time to play and pursue other interests if they get right to work and stay on task. If they give me their best during school hours, I generally promise not to take my kids' free time. I can keep my word because there's no homework for us to do at night. So why such a late start? Well, because I'm a working mom of 10 and a writer. I have always kept my mornings as my personal quiet time and productive hours. You can create a life that fits all of your goals. Homeschooling truly is a whole family deal. Through research, planning, plain trial and error, and a ton of grace, we've made it through 15 years of teaching at home. Our 3 oldest graduated in 2017 and are grateful for the opportunity homeschooling gave them to pursue their interests. Back in the beginning of our homeschool, it was just a theory. 15 years later, I can see the result. My 3 grads love books. They're succeeding in college, and I enjoy them a lot. Each of them have a unique story. Homeschooling lets you sculpt each child's learning experience to fit them, and I believe it's been a huge factor in helping our kids overcome learning difficulties and leap over hurdles they would have never been able to do in public school. You might see a child like your own in our descriptions, and I hope that you're inspired and encouraged to follow your own path with your homeschool as well. Now, I will give a little further instruction if 2 things. Reading is a focus in your family, and your heart's desire is that you want to create readers. And also, if you're a large family, I will share with you how Sunlight Curriculum has worked for us. We're called 200 Fingers and Toes because, of course, I have 10 kids at home. And you're probably asking, how do you homeschool without outsourcing everything? We know what it's like to have many grades at one time. I literally had a K-12 school, kindergarten through 12th grade, and the only grade I wasn't teaching was 9th grade and 6th grade. But with the curriculum I have, I've never taught more than 3 groups at one time. I knew I wanted to have a big family from the beginning, so I've searched for a curriculum that would fit our future family from our very first homeschool convention 20 years ago when we were just newlyweds. We needed a curriculum that we could reuse with every child, one that we felt would fit multiple kids in our grades and save time and make schooling for a large family more streamlined but still hands-on. I didn't want to throw my kids in front of a computer or leave the schooling to someone else. I wanted to be the leader in their education journey. Now, I chose Sunlight for 3 reasons. 1, I need a clone. My Sunlight binder is the second mom in the room. Regardless of how you got there, if you have more than 2 kids, you will be tempted to hope for cloning in the future. With 2 of you, you can answer math questions and sit on the couch and get through that chapter of reading with your 2nd grader. That chapter is so long when brother is standing there with a workbook 2 inches away from your face, waiting patiently for his turn. My binder is the next best thing to a clone. It keeps us moving forward every day and keeps us on task with simple, clear, and extremely satisfying check-off boxes for every subject. The whole day is laid out on one page for us to reference through the day. On the go, we just pull out the schedule and take the notes for the week and throw them in a book with my Sunlight bag. Now, whenever the older kids need to know what to read next, they simply look in the binder and boom, I'm out of the loop. How awesome is that? I like help. With Sunlight, my husband can jump in any time. The other problem I was running into was that my husband's schedule fluctuates a great deal. Now, he would be unavailable at home for long stretches and then home for a week willing to help. I didn't know what to throw his way. With my Sunlight binder, he can jump into the schedule on any given day. We check tasks off the schedule as we complete them, so he can see at a glance whether we need catching up, or he can read through the whole week in one book and save me some time. Either way, I love that he can always jump in and help me. Right now, as I've been working on writing and podcasting, I take 2 days off a week. With Sunlight, I'm able to hand over the binder, and my husband and I can work together on our entrepreneurial goals while we're homeschooling. It makes for an easy way to create a team plan, and we can both stay accountable. Now, I'm not a huge planner. I love my giant binder. So don't let the looks fool you. It's not intimidating at all. In fact, I call her mom because the binder tells me what to do every day. With 10 kids asking what's next, I could literally lose my mind before lunch on any given day. Knowing where to look quickly helps me keep kids moving forward during the day. Every day is neatly laid out with reading, history, Bible, language arts, and read-alouds. I just check down the list as we read what we need to, and we're done. This episode is brought to you by the In Due Season course, where you can build your roadmap for your own personalized homeschool journey. Listen, beginnings are great, and planning for the end is satisfying, but the middle season of homeschooling can be a long and winding, uncharted road. I want to help ensure a strong finish by helping you live well in the middle. In Due Season is a course that helps you with practical lessons, life examples, and encouragement that will serve you from that anxious first day until the moment you walk your child down an aisle in a cap and gown, or send them back to public school because you've resolved the issues that you wanted to work on. Now, simple shifts in your school setup and challenging conversations is what the course is made of, specifically designed to have you get the very best outcome from your homeschooling year. The lessons cover relationship building, like showing love uniquely to your child, creating a school that fits your personal needs by helping you transform the way you approach teaching your children. I want you to create a personalized map that will last you your entire homeschool lifetime. So In Due Season course, where you can join us to explore several other vital and powerful truths that will ensure that this will be your best school year ever. My heart's desire is that you never lose sight of the end of the road in your homeschool journey. And we want to help ensure a strong finish by helping you live well in the middle. You can find out more about the In Due Season course at indueseason.net. This translates into kids working independently earlier. By 7th grade, my older kids are in charge of their own binder. I'll check in with them, but throughout all of high school, they have worked through their studies as a group with little direction from me on what to do. Now, I still have to hound them to complete their math every day and turn in their science sheets on time, but they know what to do from their binder. Getting them to complete it in a timely manner still falls on us as parents, but half the job is still better than all of it, right? Now, using Sunlight helped us to homeschool multiple grades at one time successfully. My older kids began their independent work just as the next group really needed more guidance, so I didn't have to be as hands-on with my high schoolers as I did with my elementary students. Now, homeschool was again a great fit because many of the readers that we covered were the main subject in both learning groups. The younger kids, I read them out loud, and the older kids used them as part of their curriculum. We could still meet in the morning for Bible and then break into our smaller groups. Now, we scrap a lot of plans, and we're a house in constant flux. But with a bunch of kids, you probably are too. The baby becomes a toddler, and the kids read different rates. Some kids are auditory while others are hands-on. We shift perpetually in our fit for our needs of the year, but Sunlight has shifted right with us and gives us a schedule that we need to be successful. If you like structure, and in fact you're craving for it, Sunlight might be a great fit for you. If you love reading, or if like me you hated reading and want your kids to love it, then Sunlight is a great choice. My kids are practically putting the new book order in at the library these days. If your husband desperately wants to help, or grandma, or a teen helper, or the paper boy by any means, Sunlight Binder lets anyone jump into the fray. Are you expecting a baby, experience a prolonged sickness, or have a child with a health condition? Sunlight has been a great fit for many families in that same position. They can pull the week's schedule page, throw the reading books in a bag, and they're set for the day. What a relief. No matter what kind of curriculum you're looking for, I guarantee a few searches online will yield you plenty of results. Like I said before, I have created a wealth of resources and reviews on my blog at 200fingersandtoes.com with the intention of giving you all of the options to meet your family's needs in the way that they will learn their very best. I don't want to sell a curriculum. I don't want to push my ideas on you. What I want is to help you refine what you want as your homeschool vision. I am a homeschool courage lender. That is what I want to do. I want to lend you the encouragement to be brave and step out and make scary choices until you feel confident with your feet fully on the ground. No matter what your questions are, always, you may email me anytime at amber@200fingersandtoes.com, and I'd love to hear about your questions. I'd love to share your wins and your heartaches, and I will happily pray for you as well. I really want to thank you for joining me on these episodes, and I hope that it has encouraged and inspired you and empowered you to make the choices you want for your family. You're the number one person here leading your family, and I want you to feel like you have the tools you need to do that. I can't wait for you to meet me on the next episode. Especially encourage you if you have high schoolers that are struggling in the public system and you're thinking about removing them, but maybe you're afraid of how high school is going to go for you a second time around. Be encouraged. In the next episode, you will agree with me that high school is nothing to fear. I'll give you the tips and tools to help you go through high school successfully and give your student the tools they need for their future. I can't wait to see you next week. Have a great day.